So my name's Annie and I work in the DIO Finance team. George Pearson, he was my fiance's granddad and he fought during the D-Day battles on Sword Beach. He was a traditional gentleman. He would never leave the house without his suit, tie, shirt tucked in. He joined the Royal Marines, but he lied about his age, so he was only 17 when he signed up. His mum was very shocked when he came home and announced that he was going to go off and join the Royal Marines. So it was coming up to D-Day. They obviously didn't know at the time when it was going to happen, but he remembers on the June 5th, they all got the call to say, get some sleep, it's going to go ahead. That night they went to sleep, expected the next morning to be on the way, but weather wasn't permitting, so they actually didn't get the call to go until later that evening, the next day. He remembered looking up and it was just thousands upon thousands of ships, and he knew it was going to happen then and there. He recalls being excited. It was what they'd trained for, it was what they were ready for, and it was the buzz on all the ships. He was excited that they were going then, and it was actually happening. I think that soon changed once they got to the beaches, and he remembers just seeing absolutely demolition really on the beaches. So this was actually a letter that he sent his mum when he was out at sea. So I'll read a few lines because it's quite lovely. So he said, just a few lines to let you know that everything is still all right with me, as I hope it is with you and the family. So even when he was out of war, he was still thinking of his mum and his family at home. By the way, it happens to be my birthday today. Jolly old 19 at last. Soon to be an old man anyway. Let's hope that I'll be home for the next one. Your loving son, George. And he did get to go home for his next birthday, which was lovely. Yeah, so this is his beret from the war. So as you can see in the photos, he proudly wore it. He's no longer with us. He did pass in 2020, and this is one item that me and my fiance have at our house to remember him by. So incredibly proud. It's on display in our house in a nice little frame. But yeah, we are both so proud of him in the war. When his landing craft arrived on Sword Beach, it did get a direct hit. He was one of the only survivors of his craft, and he did have his, he lost his hearing in one of his ears, which he never got back after the war. He did receive shrapnel in his legs as well from the explosion. He recalled it as being the best yet worst time of his life. So there was the positives of he got to travel the world, but he lost a lot of friends, a lot of really close friends from the war. Once he came back, he didn't talk about it to start with. Only in his later years, we did start hearing his stories from the war. But he was always very proud of his service, very proud. I think it's really important to remember our veterans, not only for their sacrifice fighting for our country. They're heroes, and I think we should really remember them. And I know George would be over the moon telling his story and having this shared. It meant a great deal to remember. I think it's extremely important to remember the sacrifice our heroes gave, and sharing these stories similar to George's, where they did fight at D-Day and they got to come home after D-Day. I think it's really important to share these stories still, even 80 years later down the line.